All right, team, I'm just in that awkward phase where you don't know if you're live or not. Let's hope we are live. Hello, team. Hello, team. I'm going to jump straight into it. Yeah, the diet industry tells you what to do, but they don't tell you how to pull your life apart to figure out where the broken pieces are. So, welcome everyone, ladies, if you're in watching this in the Women's Plant-Based Weight Loss Support Club Facebook group. Hello, if you're watching this on YouTube, seems to be that I'm splitting between the two of you now. I'm the plant-based queen. I'm your health and weight loss coach and mentor. And if you've ever felt stuck on your journey where progress just either it stops, it halts, you start doubting yourself whether maybe you can even succeed at this, then this is the training that you probably will need. And by the end of today, hopefully you'll know how to spot the hidden reasons your weight loss has stalled, how to fix them, and how to start seeing results again without having to start kind of a new, fresh diet over winter. So I know this is valuable to you because I can't tell you how many times I have thrown something away because it's broken. Like, yeah. Like, cue environmentalists shouting at me. But by God, my sewing classes in school literally taught me nothing other than how to iron, which we actually managed as a generation to put out of commission, thankfully. Like, I don't iron anything now. But seriously, like in the shocking abundant world of fast fashion, it is ridiculously easy to buy a new pair of trousers from the internet instead of taking them to the tailors. I mean, my Fitbit, it started to default annoyingly just as I was a few weeks invested into my client challenge, which we had running this month, at the start of this month, trying to hit our daily step target. And I started looking at all my options online, and the best option was to actually throw it out and buy a new one instead of getting it fixed. So no wonder we are burying ourselves alive in batteries, plastic, metals, fabrics. But this really isn't further from the truth than the diet industry is also. So just like if your zip breaks, you can buy a new pair of trousers like today. If your toaster doesn't click into the lock position, you can buy a new one from Amazon right now. If your protein shaker smells rancid, which by the way, if you've ever had protein shaker, sit there in your car or your lunchbox. It is disgusting. Like if that goes rancid, you can just get a new one delivered to your front door by this afternoon. And we live in this new solution era, and the same goes for dieting. We live in a world where why replace something when you can get a new shiny version of it by yesterday? And our diet systems are really no different to the mentality of this new shiny syndrome mentality that we have today. And instead of focusing on the threads that have undone, the lock that isn't locking, the disinfecting of the protein shaker, we are so fast to just throw it away and blame the diet for not working. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rules. If you're severely restricting your diet, maybe you're cutting things out like carbohydrates and you're going keto, or maybe you're trying to lose weight on 1,200 calories, then these diets are going to fail you, right? By default. By default, they're going to fail you. They do not give you what you need. Therefore, your natural instincts are to eat more, to binge, and to basically stay alive. So they aren't going to work long term because they aren't designed for long term success. But if you take what I'm going to tell you today with a pinch of salt, like what I live by, what my clients are thriving on, is an abundant lifestyle of whole plant-based foods. You can get all of the nutrients, all the micro and macronutrients that you need. Okay, there is evidence, significant evidence backing that up. But even still, things can go wrong. We can plateau, we can gain weight. And so these are a natural part of a transformation. And that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, but it just means that maybe there's some things that need to be looked over, right? Like you'd take your car to the mechanic. You'd take it to the mechanic if there was a light on. Well, maybe plateauing or weight gain is the light on. So you just need to take it to the mechanic. You don't go and get the entire car changed. You'll go and see what needs to be fixed. So I have some key questions and areas that I look into if I'm plateauing or gaining. And I work through kind of with my clients if they are plateauing or gaining. And I'm going to share it with you guys today. Hopefully, I can share my screen because that is the whole point in what I wanted to do today. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen. I don't know if you can see my screen or not. Hopefully you can. So this is kind of the questions that I asked to figure out exactly where the problem is, why I'm not gaining, why I'm not losing weight, why the scale's not going in the right direction, why I'm not gaining energy, regardless of whether you have just started your diet or a whole food plant-based diet, or if you're halfway through, okay? So the first thing I look at, of course, point blank, food and nutrition. Like, are you having 3 meals built around half a plate of fruits or vegetables, some starch, and some protein? Basic fundamentals. Are you getting your macronutrients in? Are you getting your micronutrients in? Are you having more than 6 tablespoons of fats a day? It can be very easy to overdo our calories with fats. What are you snacking on between meals? Are you stopping when your body has had enough? Now, I'm not going to go through and explain all of these, but I'm going to kind of talk through these questions. So if you want a copy, by the way, of this checklist, just in the comments, drop the word checklist and I can flick it over to you. So the second thing that we talk about is habits and behaviors. Are you hitting your daily water target? This is a hugely important one. Do you eat while you're distracted, like you're watching TV, you're scrolling your phone, or you're working? Do you find yourself finishing other people's foods or grabbing extra bites here and there throughout the day? Are you taking a lick of your kid's ice cream throughout the summer? Do weekends maybe look different from weekdays in terms of your eating habits? Do you go all out because it's the weekend and restrict during the week? Have your portion sizes changed at all since you were last making progress? If so, what has changed? Because they should be changing. The smaller you get, the fewer calories you actually need. So if you're still consuming the same amount of calories that you were at the start of your diet 6 months down the line, of course that needs changing, right? Of course that needs to adjust. And do you eat when you're not physically hungry? In other words, maybe you're slightly emotionally eating sometimes. Then I go on and look at sleep and recovery. So has your sleep patterns, your quality and or quantity of sleep changed since you were last making consistent progress? Do you feel rested or do you rely on caffeine to get going? How often do you stay up late watching TV or working on your phone? Do you notice stronger cravings or increased appetite on days after poor sleep? So this is another huge part of weight loss, is sleep and recovery. And then I look at stress and lifestyle. So stress is a huge contributor, huge reason why we overeat. It's a huge reason why we store body fat. It's a huge reason why our hormones are out of whack. It's a huge reason why lifestyle disease is one on the top 10 causes of mortality. So we look at stress and lifestyle on a scale of 1 to 10. This is a good question. On a scale of 1 to 10, like how stressed do you feel most of the days compared to when you were seeing progress? It's so easy for us to go through life and expect life to be exactly the same. Like I speak to so many people who say, oh, I'm too busy to jump on a training. I'm too busy to do the challenge. I get that life is busy, but life is never going to stop, right? Especially if you are typically a busy person, life will never stop. You have to make way for the things that are important to you. If your health, if your longevity are important to you, and you work 13 hours a day, or you work 12 hours a day, you come home, you look after the kids, you cook your husband a meal, you cook yourself food, you do the washing, and then you go to bed. Like that is not going to change So you have to make a change, right? I guarantee you, you make time to scroll on Instagram or scroll on Facebook, scroll on YouTube. But if you're making time for that, you have to make time for other things. And we can't just magic up an extra few hours in our day. I wish I could pull it out my ass and give it to you, but we can't. So if you are stressed and busy, is your weight, is your health taking the brunt of that? So number two, what are your main sources of stress right now? Really have a look at whether that's shifted since when you were making the most amount of progress. And do you have regular stress management practices? Things throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year, right? We need to make sure that we are regularly checking in and regulating our nervous system. Again, otherwise you're going to come up across a whole host of issues. And looking at your movement and exercise, are you taking in as many steps every single day as you were when you were seeing the most amount of progress? Sometimes it's easy for us to get more steps in the summer than it is in the winter, right? Maybe you feel more like a winter bunny and you want to wrap up under a duvet more than you do want to go outside. So to say, oh, I was doing so well in the summer, it's very difficult for you to say that you're not doing well if you're just not getting the steps in because you don't want to go outside because it's cold. Simple little things like recognizing how much movement you do or how little movement you do now compared to when you were making the most amount of progress. Were you doing some sort of strength training, any exercise, like intense exercise, swimming, strength training, dancing a week? Like, if so, how has this changed? Has it increased? Has it decreased? Have you changed the different types of movement? How long are you standing versus sitting? There's a reason why I stand at my desk and use my treadmill because I want to burn 300 to 500 calories a day, right? If I can change nothing but walk on my treadmill while I'm working, that simply means that I can be in a 300 to 500 calorie deficit each day. Okay. So these little things, all of these questions, it might seem like a lot of questions to ask yourself, but they are the main focus points. Okay. So they're the questions that I run through with myself, with my clients. And look, ladies, like the key here is to remember, right? You've got to be comparing yourself to when you were seeing the best results. Not comparing yourself to me, not comparing yourself to your peers, but comparing yourself to when you were best seeing results, especially if this is the same journey that you're comparing yourself. Ideally, the same journey, right? What was working then? What wasn't working then, and has your life changed? Could be something very simple as well. Now my husband works nights, so I'm not sleeping all the way through the night. That's a difference that could make a huge difference in your sleep pattern, your circadian rhythm, the amount of sleep that you're getting, and therefore the cravings that you've got throughout the day, right? And you might not even realize it, but you are using food as energy, therefore you are consuming more calories than you actually need on the day just because your husband is now working nights. It's so important to really review every single element of your life, not just the diet or the willpower that you have, right? And this is why data is so incredibly important, because data looks like photos, it looks like weigh-ins, weekly reports, it looks like food journals, food logs, happiness and stress ratings, journal entries. All of this is data. I weigh myself every single day and I'm in a maintenance phase. And I have been in a maintenance phase for years. But I use this as a really good point of data. Now, I have a smart scale. Got it from Amazon, got a decent one from Amazon, and it measures things like your bone density, muscle density, the amount of water in your body. I don't know how accurate this thing is. I'll be honest with you, right? I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know how accurate it is compared to a 300-pound scale. But if it's wildly inaccurate every time, maybe that's going to be a bit consistent. But it is some form of feedback. It is giving me regular points of feedback for me to say, okay, maybe yes, like you can confirm almost every day if you had eaten a little bit too much. So I'll give you an example. The other day, I felt like I didn't need the extra snack, and lo and behold, the scale goes up. Now, this is by no means directly related. Okay, I can't even say that there is a link between me having that extra snack and the scale going up, right? That's impossible. It's impossible to tell, and it's probably very unlikely too. But it is a point of feedback. I don't make the scale mean shit about me. I don't make it mean that I am rubbish, that I shouldn't snack, that I shouldn't eat, and that I'm not worthy, and blah, 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 blah. I don't make it mean anything. I just make it mean numbers. It's just feedback. And so the more regular feedback you have, the more data you have, the more numbers you have, the easier it is to compare. The easier it is to find the cracks in your life, to find the differences between when you were enjoying the most amount of progress to when you weren't. It's not important to have all of those data points for weight loss, but it's important to have them when things go sideways, when your body's holding on to fat for some reason. That way you can compare what you were doing to what is going on now to have a really clear and accurate idea of what needs to change. So if you're looking at all of that whole list and you're like, okay, I want the checklist, but holy shit, like I don't even know where to start. I'm telling you now, in a few weeks, I'm going to squeeze in another cheeky 5-day challenge to feel and look amazing in your body and your mind. And I go through, I explain all of the key habits and goals that you need to adopt, the habits that you need to adopt, and goals and mindsets and beliefs that is the most important for you to succeed, to live your very best and abundant, energetic, and healthiest life. You won't even need to use the troubleshooting guide if you join in the challenge. So the reason you can't miss this 5-day opportunity is because it creates fast results that are actually rooted in sustainability. Like you can absolutely get faster results elsewhere, but this challenge isn't for women who want to jump on another diet rodeo like Weight Watchers or Slimming World or Herbalife, juicing, injecting, slapping a patch on your hand, right? If you want to throw your money away into false promises, go ahead. This challenge is not for you. If you're sick of being pulled through all of that shit and you know the only way to live a long and healthy life is eating, acting, and thinking like a healthy person, not just someone who just diets their whole life, but actually becoming a healthy person, then this challenge is going to show you what you've been missing so far. Because there's a difference between looking for weight loss and looking for optimal health. You can get weight loss and energy from optimal health, but you can't get an abundant, healthy, happy life from just dieting. Okay, they have two very different things. And that is a very different conversation for later. Maybe that'll be my next live. So you can continue to be a diet customer. And hey, look, we've all been there. No judgment. I've been there. I can't tell you how much money and time I've wasted on bullshit, to be honest, that never worked. Or you can learn how to live, think, and identify as a healthy, happy badass who just doesn't need to diet again. So if that's you, you're ready to be a badass with me, just comment the word challenge for the details. It's a small group opportunity. So if you're a good fit, I will send you an invite. But that's all for now, ladies. Now you can decide if you're a badass who's going to take control or a diet customer for life. I'm curious, like, who do you want to be? Remember, team, comment checklist for the checklist I showed you in the video today to troubleshoot your weight loss plateaus. And if you don't want any plateaus or stalls and you want to learn how to do it sustainably, just comment challenge to learn how to actually get the results that you want and keep them. So I'll see you next time. Bye.